Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she's perfect the way she is after she gave birth a month ago, which resulted in her lashing onto me? Been married to my wife for 2 years. I am 24 and she's 26. After she got pregnant, she always would find fault in every little thing she did or I did, constantly complains about everything. It started during her second trimester and it didn't stop but got worse. I always was by her side and comfort her, and she would calm down for our baby. But yesterday she had a breakdown. She was sobbing so much when I went to her and asked her what's wrong. She took her clothes off and screamed, "Look at me," and "Look at my belly." I gave her a hug and told her that it's a bit different now, but certainly will get better, just give it some time. I said I love her the way she is and our bodies changes over time, but my love towards her will never fade because I love her for who she is, not her body. She screamed at me and said, am I pitying her? Am I enjoying the way she and her body is? Do I want an ugly wife? I said you got it all wrong and hugged her. She grabbed my collar and aggressively kissed me. I didn't like it, but I went with it for her. She said that I am not allowed to sleep with her tonight. She loves me, but if I were to say something like this again, she will punch me. I tried stopping her and explain myself, but she didn't listen to me and grabbed our baby and went asleep. I didn't bother her by going to our bedroom despite wanting to see my baby for my wife's sake. But now I am wondering if I said something wrong. I just wanted to comfort her, not insult her. I didn't mean to hurt her, but she took it as if I was making fun of her or putting her, so am I the asshole? I don't even understand what I did wrong here. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Is she seeing a psychiatrist and/or psychologist right now? The hormone roller coaster during and after pregnancy is wild and can truly cause some women to lose their minds and/or wills to live. Postpartum psychosis and depression are debilitating. She sounds like she needs professional help for her sake and your baby's sakes as well. OP, no she isn't, but after the way she reacted I am scared and don't really know how to bring it up to her. Commenter 1. Incredibly fair. She seems very volatile right now. This is something that you could reach out to your family care doctor about and ask them for their advice on the matter. But I would urge you to do so. This is a matter of safety for everyone involved, including yourself. OP, I am not really concerned about my safety. I am more so concerned about my wife's and my baby's. My priority is to always take care and think of them first. I know my wife wouldn't harm our baby because she always talks and thinks about her. She wakes up in multiple times in the middle of night to check up on our baby and spends most of her time with our baby, keep our baby close in her arms all day. She loves our baby to death. She probably loves our baby more than she loves me, and I am so grateful. But you are right. I should talk to our family doctor to talk to my wife, or even see a counselor as to how to bring the idea of seeking professional help to my wife, because now I think she's not well, and make sure she doesn't get worse. I am now thinking of just taking a few weeks leave and care for her and keep seeking options to get her help, meds, therapy, or whatever it is. I am so concerned after the way she acted. I know she loves me, and I love her as well. Update 1. I am thankful for everyone's advice. It's the first time for me that my wife is reacting the way she is, and it's also the first time for her to give birth and see her body change so drastically. But when I was reading the comments, I saw many people suggested that I should leave because my wife said she would punch me. I don't think it's a good idea for me to run away and leave my love and my baby behind to tend for themselves. Anyway, I focused on comments about helping her as soon as possible for her and our baby's sake. I don't know much about PPD or psychosis, but no matter it is, I am willing to take a punch from her if it calms her down. Normally, she wouldn't say that, and I don't think it's abuse. I think she's just suffering. After reading all the comments, I decided to call my mill. I explained to her everything and what my wife said. My mill said, why didn't I tell her sooner? Why did I wait? I said, I am sorry. She said, don't apologize. She's flying to us, but it will take her a while, so I should try my best to comfort her. Last time I tried to comfort her about her body, but this time I thought it would be best if I talked to her about our love and how much we love our baby. I went to her and she was playing with our baby, and when she saw me, she asked me, what do I want? I said, can we hug each other for a while? She said yes. We both hugged each other and held our baby together. I expressed my love to her. I told her how much I love her, and she's and our baby are most important for me. My priority, she and our baby is my everything, and I said I am sorry and I want to be in her and our baby's life till I die and do everything I can for them. Her and our baby's health and well-being is what I think about all the time. My wife started crying and just didn't say anything, just hugged me and cried. But after I told her that she should put our baby to sleep first, she calmed down. After our baby fell asleep, I comforted her more. She didn't say anything at all, just kept crying and hugging me on the couch. I kept telling her that I love her and will always do, and no matter what, I will always be by her side to help her, and I know she loves me. She was silent, but I was kissing her forehead and face, and eventually she fell asleep and still sleeping by my side. I texted my mill about everything and will do if there's a drastic change in my wife's behavior. I told her that she shouldn't tell my wife that I talked to her, and I am texting because I don't want my wife to wake up and know about it all. My mill said she knows what to do, but I should take care of her until she arrives. So yeah, that's all that has happened. I am going to stay awake until my mill arrives and help my wife if she needs help. Meanwhile, I will read more and educate myself. I am happy that she's sleeping peacefully. Posting this once again for advice, I would appreciate it. I decided to not involve doctors yet until my mill arrives, and like others said, she will know what to do. Relevant comments. OP responds to a downvoted commenter regarding his wife abusing him. OP, question, do you really think she's abusing me? I don't like the way you guys are talking about my wife. Do you really think she's in a condition to accept responsibility? She gave birth to our child and clearly suffering, and as a husband and father I also am. Not as much as she is, but still pissed out of my fucking mind. Why did she wait so long to abuse me? Give birth to my child and abuse me? Is that some kind of master plan or something? So what is the solution? Run away, get out of my own home, and leave my own child and wife behind while my mill is on the way to help us? Change the fucking city or country of whatever. Listen man, my wife didn't abuse me. Sure, she was out of line, but she gets a pass for biting my lips and tongue cause she gave birth to my child just a month ago. But right now I cannot just leave her behind and do fuck all with my life. If in future she keeps abusing me, then I will definitely leave. Commenter 1. You're doing your best to support her, which is really important. Just remember, reaching out to a professional might help both you and your wife get through this challenging time even more effectively. You're not alone in this, and seeking help can make a big difference. OP, no, a professional therapist is a necessity at this point for both of us. Forget about me, it's necessary for her, but I thought it's better if I follow my mill's advice. Yesterday my wife lashed out on me. Today she said, what do I want? Calling a doctor is not a problem, it just takes a call and bit of money and I don't care about it. But the thing is, she might get angry and start overthinking, and I want to avoid that for her health. She's currently sleeping peacefully, just beside me, and my mill said she knows what to do and just wait unless it's an emergency. So I decided to wait and let her sleep peacefully. It's not that I don't want her to get help from a professional. It's I don't know how to bring it up to her, and I want her to sleep unless there's an emergency OFC. Her mother knows way more than I and my wife do, and I decided to trust her judgment and wait. OP responds to on waiting until his MIL arrives before getting the doctors involved with his wife's care. OP, downvoted. You are a nurse. You are far more experienced than I could ever possibly be. As ignorant and stupid as I am about what my wife is going through, I decided to not call for a doctor after my wife yesterday lashed on me and her reaction today when she asked, what do I want? My mill is no therapist, but as best as my judgment can be at this moment, I thought she can handle this situation far better than I can. A woman in their 50s knows far more than I do. I was thinking that my wife would lash onto me and complain that I called doctors on her. My mill would be with us before my wife wakes up, so I thought she can talk to her way better than I can. I also want to sleep and I am exhausted, but I won't. She comes first and our baby for me. Maybe naive, stupid, ignorant, or whatever, I just tried my best. One wrong word from me and it will piss her off even more is what I thought. And you said she might get better in a week, which means it might take even longer? That's absolutely fucking terrifying. I think she will. She has to. If not for me, then for our baby. She's sleeping peacefully after crying a lot. If her health gets worse, then I am rushing her to hospital. Is there a lack of judgment on my part? Story 2. My husband, 32 male, is upset that I am putting my career before our son. Dan and I have been married for 3 years and 8 months ago welcomed our amazing son into the world. He was very planned and wanted, and motherhood had been transformative for me. I was able to take 4.5 months maternity leave before going back to work. Without going into too many details, we both work white-collar jobs that require professional attire. A normal workday look for me is a skirt or pair of slacks, a silk blouse, pumps or boots depending on the weather, but always with a heel because I'm 5'0", maybe a blazer if I have a big meeting. Dan wears a suit almost every day. I also style my hair and do some makeup for work every day. This is what I wore before our son was born and what I continue to wear. Dan and I are pretty even in sharing parenting duties. I tend to take mornings because I'm more of a morning person than Dan. A normal morning for me starts early, short workout, shower, get baby up, get ready, get baby ready and baby off to Dan because the daycare is on Dan's way to work. I'm normally dressed at the tail end of this process, but I keep my robe on over my clothes in case my son wants to give my outfit something to remember him by on our way out the door. For the last month or so, Dan has been more irritable than normal in the morning. There have been side comments if he gets up and I'm drying my hair or getting dressed. Basically, if I'm not 100% focused on my son in the AM. Our son is happy playing and supervised, so I just chalked it up to morning moodiness, but it's been getting worse. Last night I brought it up in what I thought was a neutral, non-confrontational way. Basically, his answer was this. His mom was 100% a mom after her kids were born. She gained a fair amount of weight after she had kids and never tried to lose it. She wore sweatpants every day and works a job where she wears a uniform, so if she wasn't in her work uniform, she was in sweats and a t-shirt. She never did her hair or makeup. Her entire identity was being a mom, and she shared with me how hard it was to watch her kids start their own lives. Dan thinks I don't care about our son as much as he does since I worked on losing the baby weight and still put effort into my appearance. I feel like keeping this part of my identity actually helps me be a better mother. I love my son, but I'm still me, and I still have the things I like to do. Dressing well my identity actually helps me be a better mother. I love my son, but I'm still me, and I still have the things I like to do. Dressing well, blowing out my hair, and doing my makeup are therapeutic to me. Now that being said, my son is my life, and if I knew that not doing those things but guarantee him a happy, healthy life, I would stop immediately. I told Dan that my son and I have our morning routine, and he gets lots of time and attention before I go to the office. Dan said he wasn't looking to fight, but he just wanted me to think about my priorities and my time management. Is it normal for new moms to totally sacrifice all the things you like to do? Is this a sign of something deeper I need to address with my husband? TLDR. My husband thinks because I take my time to get ready every morning, I'm not as good of a mother as it could be. Relevant comments. Commenter. Why the hell does he care that much about your appearance if it doesn't actually directly affect your son's life? I am with you on this one. If it doesn't make a difference to how your son is treated, why can't you treat yourself and do your makeup, etc.? It's not like you're spending all that time and ignoring your son. I don't really get why he equates how someone looks with how good of a mother they are. Even if his mom was how you described, there are so many others who are good mothers but also take care of themselves. If it's not affecting your son, I don't see why you would need to change what you're doing. OP. Part of my job is sales and client service based. I feel like I have to look put together because that's what they expect. I didn't think it impacted my parenting. Commenter. He should stop projecting his views of motherhood and memories of his own mom onto you. It's inaccurate and just a little creepy. It sounds like you're spending time with your kid, so he has nothing to complain about. I can't even begin to attempt the amount of logical gymnastics that would get me to think that dressing like a slob means you somehow love your kid more. OP. It's basically that any time I spend doing stuff for myself is time that our son isn't the center of attention. But I am paying attention to our son. He's never neglected, and if I had to choose between straightening my hair and making my son feel better, my son wins without a second thought. My husband, 32/M, is upset that I, 31/F, don't look more like a mom part 2. I had no idea my post would get so much attention. There was a lot of really solid advice, and one creepy PM warning me that by dressing in business attire and wearing lipstick and heel I was being overly sexual around my child, and that would turn my son into a serial killer. Stay gold. Reddit. A couple of clarifying points. My MIL did work when my husband was growing up. She just did not have an office job. She works in a medical field and wears scrubs every day. When she's not in scrubs, she's in sweatpants. Seriously. For our wedding, his family started a pool about whether or not she would wear sweats to the wedding. I did not suddenly get sexy after my son was born. I was slightly overweight before my son was born, and I'm back to my pre-baby slightly overweight shape. Now the update. Dan and I went out without our son so we could talk. I told him that I was confused by his comment and I wanted to talk about it. I asked him if he could name specific things about the morning routine that made him feel as though our son was neglected. I offered to switch shifts, so to speak, if he, though our son, should have more AM parent time. To make a long and confusing conversation short, Dan's confused by the fact that I got over my postpartum depression and am back to normal now. For some context, my PPD never made me question whether or not I loved my son, or made me feel like we never should have had him. My PPD made me feel like I was constantly failing my son, that I wasn't good enough to be his mom, and that he deserved better. There were a few times I broke down and started crying and would tell Dan that he was so much better at being a parent than I was, and that our son didn't deserve to have a shitty mom like me. Luckily, I have an amazing DR who recognized that this wasn't just baby blues and helped me get the help I needed. It could have been much worse. Basically, Dan only felt like a good parent when I was failing and telling him that I was terrible at it. Now that I'm doing better, he no longer feels like a good dad. It's shitty, but we're staring couple counseling. I'm continuing with the counseling I started for my PPD, and Dan's going to see someone too. We're going to figure it out. And I'm still going to wear heels to work even though it's going to turn my son into an axe murderer. TL, DR, my husband felt inadequate once I dealt with my postpartum issues and tried to undermine me to feel better. We're getting counseling and my baby is going to be a serial killer.